Speaking of antibodies, Singapore's Agency for Science, Technology and Research, or A*STAR, is working with Japan's Chugai Group to come up with a therapeutic antibody to treat those with COVID-19. Professor Sir David Lane, who is A*STAR Chief Scientist and Chairman of Chugai Pharma Body Research, joins us now for more on this. So do tell us then, or help us understand, in fact, what are antibodies and their role when it comes to treating COVID-19 infection?
Yes, thank you very much for having me on the show. I mean, this is a very exciting project for us. So what has happened in A*STAR is the development of an antibody that can neutralize, as we heard before, that is, inactivate the virus and stop it being able to infect cells and cause the disease. And so what we hope to do together with Chugai is to turn this antibody into a medicine that can be given to people. And the big advantage of an antibody therapy is it can not only treat the disease when somebody has it, but also act to protect somebody from getting it. So antibodies are molecules in the blood. We normally make them, and they protect us from virus and other types of infection, a very important part of our immune system, and they can neutralize all sorts of pathogens. And so the antibody we have is one that's very specific for COVID-19 that was developed in A*STAR by Dr. Cheng Yi and his colleagues, and it looks very promising. To get an antibody to patients needs a lot of work. We have to make a huge amount of the antibody, we have to make sure it's absolutely safe, and we have to perfect its properties. So that's where Chugai Pharma Body comes in. We're very experienced in those methodologies, and for the team as a whole, it's very lucky because we've worked together before. So Dr. Cheng Yi and SIGN in A*STAR have worked before with Chugai Pharma Body to develop antibodies to the dengue virus, a project that's going very well. So the team is really confident that we can do this work together.
So, Professor, tell us, what's the difference between what you are trying to do now and what other treatments available now?
Yes, so there's really three sorts of things that people are trying. So one is to try and develop small molecule drugs, things that we take like a pill to inhibit the virus. And this is a therapy that has worked very well, for example, for HIV. The other thing that people are trying to do, of course, is to develop a vaccine. So this can be given to people, and then they will be induced to make their own antibodies, and that will stop the infection. The difficulty with the vaccine, of course, is that it can't be used to treat somebody who's already got the disease. So it's only a way of protecting people. All of these approaches are terribly important. I mean, the scale of the epidemic is really enormous, and we have to try everything. And all the scientists around the world are really coming together to work very, very hard to see if we can push these things as quickly as possible so that we can get them to doctors and patients to make a big impact on this terrible disease.
Given this sort of how far-reaching this pandemic has been, it's understandable that so many researchers around the world, like yourself, are sort of working in this area. Are you saying then that you expect to see various ways of treating COVID-19 in the months to come?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I'm particularly confident about the approach we're taking of the neutralizing antibody because it's a field that we have a great deal of understanding about. And there's already a product in the market that's used to treat children to protect them against respiratory syncytial virus. So in the sense of knowing the different branches that we can try, this is the one I feel might get us there most quickly. But clearly the other two approaches are very important. I mean, vaccines we really think will be extremely important. And of course, a drug therapy could be very good as well. But if we think how long it took us to get very good drugs for HIV, we realize it can be a very slow process. So I'm hopeful myself that this particular approach we're taking, the antibody approach, could be very fast and very effective.
So how would the treatment be administered to patients then?
Yes, so there's really two ways we can do it. We can't take it like a pill, unfortunately. So we can either have a solution and inject it into the bloodstream, usually in your arm, or, and we're hoping this will be the case for this molecule, we'll be able to give it subcutaneously, so an injection under the skin. We think that such an injection could protect somebody for up to 3 months, 2 to 3 months from the virus, and we also think it could help therapeutically if they've already got the virus. In order to do that, we have to make a very, very good antibody preparation. And of course, we're going to have to make it in huge amounts. So this is where the technology really that's being developed both in A*STAR and particularly in Chugai comes in play. We have the experience of making huge amounts of antibodies and antibodies that have been approved by the FDA and other regulatory authorities. So we know what we need to do to get this to be a medicine that will be safe for doctors to give to their patients and make a difference.
And given the urgency of this, what's your timeline? What are you thinking is going to sort of, well, how long?
I wish it was infinitely short.
To get this up and running?
So, yes, I mean, I think we're looking for an early readout, and we have really pushed as hard as we can. So in our calculations, we think we can get some indication that this is going to be able to go forward within 2 to 3 months, but probably 3 months. And we're hoping that we can get to the point where we can do a trial in patients in a year. This is very, very fast by industry standards, and we've spent a lot of time trying to work out how we can achieve this. The whole team's come together to sort of see every possible thing we can do to make the work go faster. And obviously that's terribly important. But I'm very optimistic about the team. It's a great team. The company and A*STAR can work together very well on this, I think, and go as fast as we can.
Indeed, all the best. Thank you very much, Professor, for speaking to us. Professor Sir David Lane, A*STAR Chief Scientist and Chugai Pharma Body Research Chairman.